I stepped into the living room and the first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the comfortable kind of silence, but the sharp, suffocating one that screamed I didn't belong. Mom was standing by the fireplace, laughing with Derek and their kids, completely oblivious to me. "Ryan, you made it," she said, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. It was polite, distant. I forced a grin. "Yeah, of course. Wouldn't miss Christmas. Come take a photo with the family," Derek said, holding up his phone. I hesitated, my chest tightening. Their kids ran past me giggling. Mom gave me a quick nod like I was an afterthought. I stepped forward and Derek looked at me with that fake warmth he always wore like armor. "Right here, Ryan." Big smile. I smiled. Click. Another memory to remind me I was invisible. I muttered under my breath, "Great? What was that?" Mom asked, frowning. "Nothing." I clenched my fist. My throat was tight. "Just nothing." "Ryan, you've been quiet all evening," she said almost accusingly. "Maybe because I don't feel welcome," I snapped before I could stop myself. The words hit the air like a punch. Mom froze. "What are you talking about?" "Come on, Mom." "Really?" I gestured at the room. "I come here and it's like I don't exist. You laugh, you joke, you include everyone, except me. I'm your son. Your son. And I'm just background noise?" Derek shifted uncomfortably, but Mom waved him off. "Ryan, that's unfair. We're all excited you're here." "Excited? Really? Because it looks like I'm a guest star in my own family story." My voice cracked. "All these years I've tried. I've tried to be part of this family, and you just chose them over me." Mom's face tightened. "Ryan, that's not what." "Not what?" I cut her off. "You left me when Dad wasn't around. You replaced me with Derek and his perfect little life. And now, even when I show up, I'm still invisible." There was silence. Derek rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, Ryan." "Don't look, Derek. You don't get it." I felt tears sting my eyes. "I've spent my whole life trying to make you notice me, Mom. And every time you chose someone else. Every single time." Mom's eyes softened, but I wasn't buying it. "Ryan, I didn't." "Didn't what? Didn't leave me? Didn't hurt me?" "Mom, face it. You made your choice. And it wasn't me." I turned to leave the room, but Logan stepped in front of me. "Ryan, breathe. Don't let it take you over." "I am breathing, Logan." I snapped, my voice shaking. "I'm just tired of being pushed aside. Tired of being second place in my own family." Logan put a hand on my shoulder. "You're not alone, man. You have people who actually care about you." I let out a bitter laugh. "Yeah, me and you. The only ones who actually see me." "Exactly," Logan said firmly. "And that's enough to start with." I glanced back at Mom. She looked regretful maybe, or maybe just uncomfortable. "Regret doesn't fix years of being invisible," I said softly. "Not anymore." Derek cleared his throat. "Ryan, I didn't." "Save it," I said, shaking my head. "I'm done listening to excuses." Mom's lips pressed into a thin line. "Ryan, You can't just, Mom. You made your choice. You've made it every day. And now I make mine. I'm not waiting around for your approval anymore." Logan gave me a nod. "Good. That's the Ryan I know. Take control." I squared my shoulders and walked out, feeling a strange mix of anger and relief. For the first time in years, I wasn't pleading for attention or validation. I was claiming my space on my terms. As I stepped outside, the cold night air hit me and I felt alive for the first time all evening. Mom's face stayed in my mind, haunted and pleading, but I didn't look back. I had more important things to focus on now. Me, my life, my choices. And I vowed right then she'd regret ignoring me when I finally rose above it all. The first thing Cynthia did when I saw her the next morning was smile like nothing had happened. "Ryan, I wanted to tell you in person," she said, adjusting her scarf. "We're hosting a big family reunion next month. Everyone's invited, except, well," her eyes flicked away careful like she was afraid of what I might say. I froze. "Except me? Well, it's just what?" I cut in, my voice sharper than I intended. "Why am I always the one who doesn't count?" Cynthia swallowed. "Ryan, it's complicated. I didn't think." "You didn't think?" I laughed bitterly. "You didn't think about how it feels to be left out again? To be ignored, forgotten?" Her hands trembled slightly. I didn't mean to hurt you." "Didn't mean to hurt me?" I repeated, feeling my chest tighten. "Mom, every birthday, every holiday. I've counted on you. And every single time you chose them over me. That's not accident, that's a pattern." She flinched at the word pattern, but I couldn't stop. Do you even remember my 9th birthday? You forgot to pick me up from school. I waited in the rain for an hour, thinking maybe today you'd actually show up. But no. You were too busy with Derek's friends. Her eyes watered. Ryan, Or the time I tried out for the school play, I said, my voice rising. I was terrified, Mom. I needed you there. And you sent a note instead of coming. A note. Good luck, Ryan. That's all. A piece of paper while everyone else had their parents cheering. Cynthia's lips quivered. I thought you'd understand. Understand? I shook my head, anger and pain mixing into something hotter. Understand that I didn't matter? That's what I was supposed to understand? I was a kid, Mom. A kid who wanted you. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I never meant to make you feel that way. Words don't fix years of being invisible. I shouted. Years of trying and failing just to be noticed. Do you know what it feels like to be invisible to the one person who's supposed to love you unconditionally? I clenched my fists, pacing the room. Logan, who had been leaning against the doorway silently, finally stepped in. Ryan, calm down. You can't keep letting this eat you alive. I whirled to him. Eat me alive? Logan, this isn't some little fight. This is my life. This is everything I've carried for years. Do you know how much it hurts to reach out and the people you trusted the most just side with the ones who hurt you? Logan crossed his arms. Yeah, I get it. But staying angry forever won't give you what you want. You have to decide what matters, proving them wrong or proving yourself right. I shook my head. It's not that simple. I picked up my phone and typed Elena's name. My childhood friend. Maybe she'd understand, maybe she'd. Hey Ryan. Long time no talk. How's everything? Elena, I need your advice, I typed. I'm dealing with Mom and it's complicated. Can we talk? A few minutes later, her reply came. Ryan, Mom told me about the reunion. Honestly, I think it's fine she's not including you. You should just let it go. No hard feelings. My hands dropped to my sides. I felt the world tilt. Let it go? After everything? After all she's done? I slammed the phone down. Elena, you were supposed to get it. You were supposed to know how it feels. Logan put a hand on my shoulder. Ryan, I know it hurts. But betrayal isn't always personal. Sometimes people just follow the wrong side. Doesn't make it right though. I paced, chest tight, vision blurred. It is personal. It's always been personal. I've lived my life in the shadow of everyone else's happiness while they all get the warmth, the attention, the love. I'm tired, Logan. So tired of being left behind. Then change it, Logan said firmly. Stop waiting for them to notice. Stop waiting for Mom to include you. Make your own path. I paused, heart pounding, my mind spinning. Could I forgive her? Could I even stand in the same room with her without feeling like a child again? Maybe I don't need her approval, I muttered. The thought felt dangerous, exhilarating, and sad all at once. Logan nodded. Exactly. You're the only one who can decide your worth, Ryan. Not her. Not Elena. Not Derek. You. I sank into the couch, rubbing my face. I thought some people would always be there for me. That some bonds were unbreakable. I was wrong. Logan's hand stayed on my shoulder, steady. Wrong. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. You're stronger than you realize. I let out a shaky breath. I need to figure out if I'm strong enough to move past all this, or if I want them to regret it first. And just like that, the seed of something dangerous and necessary took root. Revenge? Forgiveness? Or just sheer self-preservation? I didn't know yet. But I knew one thing. I couldn't go back to being invisible. I was scrolling through my feed when the notification popped up, bright and mocking. Cynthia Thompson's annual holiday gala. All are invited. I froze. My stomach twisted. My hands shook. Every fiber of my body screamed that I shouldn't even care. But I did. I had to. Unbelievable, I muttered aloud, voice shaking. Of course she'd do this without me. Logan's text came in seconds later. What's up, man? I typed furiously. She's doing it again. Leaving me out. Another party. Another reminder that I don't matter. Calm down, he replied. You can't control what she does. Control? I whispered to myself. Control is all I've ever wanted from her. Just notice me once. Just once. But no. She chooses Derek, the kids, everyone but me. I slammed my phone on the table. I hate her. I hate how easy it is for her to live in her perfect little world while I get nothing. Nothing. Mia's name flashed on my screen. I hesitated, then called her. The ringtone echoed in the apartment, a lifeline in my storm. Ryan? What's wrong? Mia's voice was calm, soothing, but I could hear the concern under the surface. You wouldn't believe it, I said, pacing. Mom's throwing another one of her lavish parties. And guess who isn't invited? Mia exhaled slowly. Let me guess, you? I let out a bitter laugh. Exactly. Again. I'm not just ignored, Mia. I'm erased. Ryan, I get it. That hurts. I really do, she said softly. But are you letting it ruin you? You can't keep letting her choices define your worth. I stopped pacing, fingers gripping my hair. Define my worth? She's my mother. She's supposed to love me unconditionally, Mia. Instead, I'm nothing. Invisible. You're not invisible, she said firmly. Ryan, you're my friend. You're strong. You've built so much despite her. That counts for something. I don't feel strong, I admitted, my voice low. I feel tired. Empty. Angry. I want to scream at her, at Derek, at everyone. I want them to see me, to feel even a fraction of what I feel. You can make them see, Ryan, Mia said. Not by being angry. By being better. By standing taller than they expect. By not letting them control your emotions anymore. I sank onto the couch, running a hand down my face. I don't know if I can. Every time I think I've moved past it, it hits me again. This constant reminder that I wasn't good enough for her. You were always good enough, Mia said. They just chose wrong. That's their failure, not yours. Her words settled over me, but the fire inside didn't die. If anything, it burned brighter. I remembered every slight, every ignored birthday, every overlooked accomplishment. Every time I tried to reach out, hoping for just a word of pride from her, I was met with silence or a half-hearted smile. I don't want to forgive her, I whispered, mostly to myself. Not yet. Maybe never. But I also can't keep letting this destroy me. That's it, Mia said, her voice firm but kind. You decide how you react. You decide what she gets to do to you. And right now, Ryan, you get to take control. I sat up straighter, chest tight, eyes narrowing. She was right. I didn't have to wait for her approval. I didn't have to let her determine my happiness. But what if I fail? I asked, voice trembling. What if I can't rise above all this? What if I end up just broken? Then you try again, Mia said simply. You've done it before. You'll do it again. And this time you do it for you, not for her. I let out a shaky laugh, a strange mix of relief and determination. For me, huh? For you, she said firmly. Always for you. I leaned back, letting the words sink in. A strange calm washed over me. The anger was still there, simmering, but it wasn't controlling me anymore. Not completely. I'm done being a ghost in her life, I said, more to myself than Mia. Done waiting for scraps of attention. Done letting her choices define who I am. That's the Ryan I know, Mia said softly. Strong, unstoppable, aware of your own worth. I closed my eyes and let the fire inside me settle into something I could work with. Anger into focus. Pain into strategy. Hurt into motivation. I will rise above this, I whispered, voice steady, almost fierce. I will take control of my life. And when I'm done, she'll see that losing me was her biggest mistake. Mia's voice was gentle. You've got this, Ryan. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I ended the call and sat in silence for a moment, chest still tight, heart racing. The world outside my window seemed sharper, brighter somehow, as if it had been waiting for me to decide I mattered. I wasn't a victim anymore. Not of Cynthia, not of Derek, not of Elena, not even of my own doubts. I was Ryan Thompson. And I was about to take my life back. Ryan, you can't just keep waiting for someone else to validate you, Olivia said, leaning back in her chair. If you want change, you have to create it yourself. I ran a hand over my face. I know, but it's hard. I've spent so long reacting to everything, letting everyone else's choices control me. I don't even know where to start. You start with one thing, Olivia said firmly. One step at a time. I sighed. Okay, step one. Money. I can't rely on anyone. Financial independence first. Exactly, Olivia said, smiling. Set a budget, track your expenses, and find ways to invest. You'll feel empowered once you see control over your own life. I've never been good with numbers, I muttered. That's why I'm here, Olivia said. I'll guide you. But you have to do the work. I can do that, I said, determination creeping in. I don't want to fail again. Everyone fails, Olivia said. The difference is who gets back up. Later that week, I was at the office, eyes glued to spreadsheets, Logan sitting beside me. You're pushing yourself too hard, Ryan. Take a break, Logan said. I can't, I said, voice tight. Every hour I waste is another hour I stay powerless. I need to fix this. Tyler, my coworker, smirked from across the room. Trying to look important again, Thompson? Thought you'd give up already? I swallowed my frustration. I'm not giving up. Not this time. Tyler leaned closer. You're still hung up on your mom, huh? Pathetic. I clenched my fists under the desk. Maybe. But at least I'm moving forward instead of hiding behind excuses like you. Tyler snorted and walked away. Logan gave me a small nod. See? You handled that. Every little win counts. By evening I was drained, but Mia's text lit up my phone. Want to grab coffee? I'll bring something to celebrate small victories. I smiled. Yeah, I could use that. At the cafe, Mia's warmth was a bomb. Ryan, you're really doing this. I can see it. You're not the same person you were a few months ago. I stirred my coffee, hesitant. I'm still angry sometimes. I wonder if revenge would feel satisfying. Just to make mom notice what she's lost. Mia shook her head. Revenge isn't the answer. You already have power, your life, your choices. That's enough to make her regret ignoring you. I know, I admitted. But it's hard to let go of wanting that acknowledgement. Even a little. You don't need her acknowledgement, Ryan, Mia said softly. You have Logan, me, Olivia. You have yourself. That's what matters. Back at home, I dove into financial planning, learning to budget, invest, and strategize for independence. Every spreadsheet, every calculation felt like a step away from the powerless kid I used to be. A week later, Tyler challenged me again during a meeting. You really think you can handle this project, Thompson? Don't overestimate yourself. I met his gaze steadily. I'll handle it. Watch me. Olivia's voice echoed in my mind. Who gets back up defines success. The next month, I landed a side project that brought an extra income. Logan clapped me on the back. See? Hard work pays off. I'm just starting, I said, letting a small smile escape. But it feels good. Really good. Mia texted again. Dinner tonight? I want to hear all about your victories. I laughed softly. Sure. You'll get all the details, and maybe some embarrassing stories too. That night I called Olivia. I've started investing. I'm budgeting. I feel capable. Like I'm finally taking control. Olivia's voice was warm. I knew you had it in you. Remember, Ryan, this is just the beginning. Growth takes time. Keep pushing, keep learning, and don't let anyone, especially your mother, make you doubt yourself. I won't, I said firmly. I want to be better than I ever imagined. Strong, independent. Someone who doesn't need her approval to feel complete. As I hung up, I looked around my apartment. The quiet felt different now. Not lonely. Purposeful. I had a plan. A path forward. And I knew Cynthia and Derek wouldn't matter as much anymore, not in the way they used to. The anger still lingered, but it was no longer paralyzing. It was fuel. I could channel it into growth, into something powerful. I leaned back, chest rising slowly, letting the sense of possibility fill me. Logan's advice, Olivia's guidance, Mia's support, they were my anchors. I didn't need to wait for anyone to validate me. Not Mom. Not Derek. Not Tyler. I was Ryan Thompson. And I was building something no one could take away. I stared at the email subject line, heart hammering. Congratulations, Ryan Thompson, promotion approved. I couldn't believe it. After years of Derek undermining me, this was finally real. I had earned it, and no amount of his favoritism or manipulation could take it away. Ryan, you're glowing, Logan said, leaning against my office door. What happened? I got promoted, I said, letting the words sink in. Officially. Head of the project Derek tried to steal from me last year. Logan whistled. About time. That's karmic justice if I ever saw it. I laughed, bitter and sweet. It feels satisfying. But also strange. I don't know if I should feel guilty for enjoying this or proud. Maybe both. Enjoy it, Logan said. You earned it. Let him squirm a little. I took a deep breath. Time to confront Derek, professionally, without letting emotions control me. I walked into his office, chest squared, expression calm. Derek, I said. Do you have a moment? Derek looked up from his desk, frown forming. Ryan. What's this about? I just wanted to inform you, I said, voice steady, that I've been promoted to head the new project. I understand you previously had concerns, but the decision has been finalized. Derek's lips pressed into a thin line. I see. Congratulations, I guess. Thank you, I said politely, keeping my tone measured. I hope we can collaborate effectively moving forward. I'd like to maintain professionalism. He grunted, eyes flicking away. I left his office with a strange mix of satisfaction and calm pride. This was my first victory without resorting to anger or revenge. Later, Elena stopped by my desk, hovering over my shoulder. Ryan, I heard about the promotion. Impressive. But are you sure you're ready for all the responsibilities? I narrowed my eyes. Why the hesitation, Elena? She forced a smile. Just making sure everything goes smoothly. You know, the project is complicated. Mistakes could be costly. I felt a flicker of suspicion. I appreciate your concern, but I've prepared extensively. I'll handle it. Elena leaned closer. Of course. Just watch your steps. Her tone was thinly veiled, almost threatening. I tapped my keyboard, hiding a small smirk. Thanks for the advice. I'll keep it in mind. Once she left, Logan appeared beside me. She's testing you. Trying to see if you'll crumble under pressure. I noticed, I said, stretching my fingers over the keyboard. She always had a way of trying to sabotage me subtly. But not this time. I'm prepared. Over the next few days, I threw myself into the project. Each challenge I overcame felt like a quiet victory over Derek, Elena, and the years of feeling powerless. I realized something important. The more I focused on building my skills and confidence, the less their opinions mattered. One afternoon, Derek stopped by my office, tone clipped. Ryan, the project timeline you submitted, it's aggressive. Are you sure your team can meet these deadlines? I met his gaze steadily. I've accounted for all variables, Derek. My team is capable and I'll ensure milestones are met. Your doubts are noted, but not a concern. He scowled. Just don't make mistakes. That would reflect poorly on you. Of course, I said smoothly. And I'll ensure it reflects positively. As he left, I felt a rush of quiet satisfaction. No yelling. No revenge tactics. Just competence and calm authority. Logan poked his head in. You're enjoying this a little too much, aren't you? I can't help it, I admitted. Part of me feels guilty for taking pleasure in seeing them stumble, but another part, it's justice, Logan. It's balance. Logan nodded. Good. That's the Ryan I know. Calm, strategic, and finally in control. Later, Mia called. How's the new position? She asked cheerfully. I smiled, leaning back in my chair. Honestly? Amazing. It's like I've stepped into a new life. I'm learning how to handle challenges without letting old wounds control me. That's wonderful, Ryan, she said warmly. I'm proud of you. Her words filled me with a sense of validation that had nothing to do with Derek or Cynthia. It was real. It was mine. By the end of the week, the project was on track, team morale high, and I had navigated both Derek's subtle interference and Elena's underhanded tactics without faltering. I realized I was stronger than I had imagined, capable of facing betrayal with intelligence instead of rage. Sitting at my desk that evening, I reflected on the past. Years of feeling powerless, ignored, and hurt. And now, step by step, I was reclaiming my life. Not through revenge, but through competence, strategy, and self-respect. I leaned back, chest rising slowly, a quiet smile spreading. Derek would have to watch me succeed. Elena would have to see me excel despite her sabotage. And I, finally, wasn't a victim anymore. This was only the first strike, and it was perfect in its simplicity. No yelling. No confrontation. Just victory earned the right way. I typed a quick message to Mia. It's going well. First strike landed. Feeling unstoppable. Her reply came instantly. I knew you could do it. Keep going, Ryan. And I would. Step by step, strike by strike, I would rise above it all. The invitation came in a small envelope, crisp and unassuming. Ryan, please join us for a family gathering. I would like to see you. Cynthia's handwriting, familiar and deliberate, made my chest tighten. I stared at it, mind spinning. Why now? I whispered to myself. After everything, why now? Logan's voice came through my phone speaker. Thinking of going? I don't know, I said. Part of me wants to see if she's really changed. Another part. I just want to stay away. Ryan, you need to control your emotions, Logan said firmly. Go there, watch her, learn what you can, but don't let your past hurt decide your actions. I nodded even though he couldn't see me. You're right. Composure. I can do this. At the gathering, Cynthia approached with a tentative smile. Ryan, I'm glad you came, she said softly. I forced a polite nod. Thanks for inviting me. You look well, she said, eyes flicking briefly to my hands, fidgeting with the edge of my jacket. Thanks, I muttered, keeping my voice steady. How's everyone? Everyone's good. The kids are excited about the holidays, she said, but there was a tension in her tone I couldn't place. I wandered toward the living room, spotting a small table of family photos. My eyes caught one of me as a child, smiling shyly, standing next to Cynthia. A memory hit me, my 8th birthday, the cake melting in the sun outside while I waited for her to come home. She had been late again and I had cried alone. I clenched my fist. Logan's words echoed in my mind. Composure. Observe, don't react. Mia's text lit up my phone. Remember, silence is your power. Watch, don't engage. I looked around the room, noticing the subtle ways Cynthia's attention shifted to Derek and the kids, leaving me on the periphery. My heart tightened, a familiar ache surfacing. A small gift sat on the table, my name barely visible on a tag. I remembered asking for a baseball glove one year, waiting with hope. She had given me a book instead, saying this is more practical. I had appreciated it, but the sting of disappointment lingered. Ryan. Cynthia's voice pulled me back. I turned slowly, careful to keep my expression neutral. Yes. I know I've made mistakes, she said, voice soft. I didn't realize how much my choices hurt you. I want to make amends if you'll let me. I swallowed, chest tight. Cynthia. I don't know if amends are possible. Not yet. I understand, she said quietly, looking genuinely pained. I just wanted you to know I care now. Noted, I said, keeping my tone calm. Appreciate it. But it doesn't erase the past. As I moved toward the kitchen, I caught a glimpse of the old photo again, feeling the weight of years of neglect. The ache was sharp, but I focused on Mia's reminder. Silence can be stronger than confrontation. Tyler's voice came from across the room, teasing someone about their new gadget. I realized even here the world moved on, indifferent to my internal turmoil. I felt a strange clarity. I couldn't let lingering love or justified resentment control me. I wandered into the backyard, the cold evening air brushing against my face. Logan had joined me silently, hands in his pockets. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I said, forcing a small smile. It's just, memories. They hit hard sometimes. I know, he said softly. But you're handling it. Watching, learning, not reacting. That's strength. I glanced at the horizon, thinking of all the birthdays missed, the small betrayals stacked over time, the ignored accomplishments. Each memory was a weight but also a reminder. I had survived. A childhood baseball sat near the garden shed, dusty and worn. I picked it up, turning it in my hands, thinking of the day I had waited hours for Cynthia to throw it to me. She had smiled briefly, distracted, and left. The memory stung, but it no longer controlled me. Mia's voice buzzed in my head again. Use your silence wisely. It's power, Ryan. I let the ball drop back on the grass, chest rising slowly, breathing even. The longing to be noticed, the urge to confront, it was there, but I held it in check. Cynthia's figure appeared at the doorway, hesitant. Ryan, are you all right? I'm learning, I said carefully, tone neutral but steady. And that's enough for now. She nodded, eyes misty, and retreated without pressing further. Logan's arm brushed mine. See? You didn't need to say anything. You controlled the room without confrontation. I nodded, a quiet sense of power settling in. The past still echoed, but it didn't define me. I could acknowledge the pain, remember the betrayals, and still maintain control over my emotions. I exhaled slowly, chest rising, letting the cool night air fill me. I realized something important. Lingering love and justified resentment could coexist, but they didn't have to dictate my actions. I could observe, feel, and still remain untouchable. This was a lesson in patience, composure, and power. And I wasn't done learning. The envelope sat on my desk, pristine and deliberate. Ryan, I would be honored if you allowed me to attend your career achievement ceremony. Cynthia Thompson's handwriting, carefully neat, felt like a spotlight on every old wound. I stared at it, chest tight, mind racing. Why now? I whispered aloud. Why reach out only when there's something to celebrate? Logan's voice buzzed through my phone. You got mail? I held up the envelope. It's from Cynthia. She wants to come to my ceremony. Logan whistled. That's bold. How do you feel? Conflicted, I admitted. Part of me wants her there. Part of me wants to tell her she's too late. I don't know which is stronger. You're allowed to feel both, Logan said firmly. But think strategically. What do you actually want? I clenched my fists, pacing. Acknowledgement. Validation. Maybe closure. But not at the cost of my dignity. Exactly, Logan said. Keep your boundaries, Ryan. Test your control. I unfolded the invitation slowly, rereading her words. I could almost hear Derek's smirk and Elena's sly laugh, imagining how they had twisted the narrative to her. Derek and Elena, I muttered, voice tight. Always scheming. They probably fed her excuses, painted me as unreasonable. Logan's voice was calm. That's why you can't react emotionally. They're manipulating the situation. You stay focused, you win. I ran a hand through my hair, chest rising and falling with tension. I can't just ignore the invitation. Part of me wants to see her face, to measure if this is genuine or just orchestrated. Then go prepared, Logan said. Observe, control, and don't give them the satisfaction of emotional reaction. I paced to the window, staring at the city lights, thinking of all the times I had longed for recognition from Cynthia, only to be met with indifference. Birthdays forgotten, milestones ignored, achievements overlooked. Each memory was a pang, but now it was tempered with experience and resolve. Mia's text lit up my phone. Whatever you choose, Ryan, make it your choice. Not hers, not theirs. I smiled faintly. Thanks, Mia. I needed that. Later, I called Olivia. I got an invitation, I said, voice tense but steady. From Cynthia. She wants to attend my ceremony. Olivia's tone was measured. And what do you want, Ryan? I want acknowledgement, maybe validation. But I also know it's a trap orchestrated by Derek and Elena. I don't want to let them manipulate me again. Then control the situation, Olivia said firmly. Decide your terms. Either let her attend with boundaries or maintain your distance. But it must be your choice, not theirs. I exhaled slowly. Boundaries. That's key. I won't let old wounds or new schemes control me. Not anymore. The next day, I confronted Derek and Elena subtly at work. So, it seems Cynthia sent me an invitation, I said casually, glancing between them. Derek shifted uneasily. Oh, she probably just wanted to see me, I finished for him. I see. And I imagine Elena had some input. Elena's smile faltered. It's not like that. Sure, I said, keeping my voice neutral, calm. But it's interesting how timing works, isn't it? Right before my achievement is recognized publicly. They exchanged glances, uncomfortable. I felt a flicker of satisfaction, not from malice but from clarity. I wasn't being blindsided. I was aware, in control. Back at my apartment, I sat with Mia, chest rising slowly, considering my decision. I want to see if she's genuine, I admitted. But I also don't want to open the door to past hurt. Mia placed her hand over mine. You don't have to. You can be cautious, maintain boundaries, and still allow her presence if you choose. It's about your rules, not hers. I nodded. Observation, control, strategic engagement. I can do that. I can experience her presence without losing myself. Later that evening, I drafted a response. Thank you for the invitation. I will allow your attendance under the condition that I maintain control over the interactions and boundaries. Looking forward to a respectful presence. I read it twice before sending, chest tight but steady. Sending it felt like a victory. Not for her, not for Derek or Elena, but for me. Logan's call came immediately. Sent it? He asked. I leaned back, hands behind my head. I did. And I feel empowered. Not guilty, not anxious. Just aware. That's the Ryan I know, Logan said. Measured, strategic, in control. You're ready for what comes next. Mia texted, you're making your own story. That's all that matters. I stared at the ceiling, chest rising, letting the calm strength settle in. I was choosing my response, not reacting to manipulation or longing. The echoes of the past were still there, whispering, but I could acknowledge them without being controlled by them. Tomorrow at my ceremony, I would face Cynthia, Derek, and Elena. Not as a victim, not as a child seeking approval, but as Ryan Thompson, fully in command of his emotions, strategic in his interactions, and quietly powerful. The ultimate choice wasn't revenge. It wasn't forgiveness. It was control. And for the first time, I knew I had it completely. The lights of the hall glimmered as I stepped inside, chest rising slowly, trying to steady the mix of pride and tension swelling in me. The hum of chatter, clinking glasses, and soft music surrounded me, but my mind focused only on the stage, the award, and the people who had shaped my past. Ryan. Logan waved from a table nearby, a reassuring grin on his face. I smiled faintly. Thanks for being here, I said, keeping my voice calm, measured. You've earned this, Logan said. No one can touch what you've built. I nodded, letting his words settle. Pride mingled with lingering pain. This moment was mine. Mine alone. I caught sight of Cynthia Thompson and Derek across the room, standing together, smiles practiced but uneasy. The way they looked at me. I felt the weight of years compressed into that glance. They expected warmth, maybe forgiveness. I walked toward my table, keeping my composure. Ryan, Mia whispered, leaning in. Stay calm. Observe. You're in control. I know, I said, chest lifting slightly. It's not for them. It's for me. The ceremony began. Applause echoed as speakers praised accomplishments. When my name was announced, the hall turned toward me. Every step toward the stage felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. As I approached the podium, I glimpsed Derek shifting uneasily. His hand tightened on the program. Cynthia Thompson's eyes flickered with something unspoken, regret, hope, or perhaps expectation. I cleared my throat. Thank you, I began, voice steady. This award is not just a recognition of my work, but of perseverance, resilience, and the support of those who believed in me when I doubted myself. Polite applause followed. I scanned the room subtly, making eye contact with Logan and Mia, drawing strength from them. Derek's smile was thin, forced. Cynthia Thompson blinked rapidly as if expecting a different version of me, a version still waiting for approval. And I want to acknowledge, I continued, that growth doesn't erase the past, but it empowers the present. We all have challenges, and overcoming them is the true achievement. A soft murmur passed through the crowd. I could feel the weight of my words landing on Cynthia and Derek. They hadn't expected this measured, controlled Ryan, calm, proud, untouchable. After accepting the award, I returned to my table, chest still high, posture relaxed. Derek leaned slightly toward Cynthia, whispering something I didn't catch, clearly unsettled. Elena appeared suddenly, fluttering around, attempting charm. Ryan, congratulations. This is amazing. Thank you, Elena, I said, neutral tone, faint smile. I appreciate it. She leaned closer, voice lower. I hope you know I'm here for you. Anything you need, just ask. I paused, choosing my words carefully. I'll keep that in mind. The subtle firmness in my tone left no room for manipulation. She recoiled slightly, realizing her attempts to ingratiate herself were ineffective. Poetic justice. Logan nudged my arm. They're watching, he said quietly. I know, I murmured. And they're seeing exactly what I want them to see. Not anger, not revenge, just strength. Cynthia Thompson approached later, hesitant, voice quiet. Ryan, you look different. Stronger. I held her gaze evenly. Thank you, Cynthia. This isn't about you or Derek. It's about me. I hope you understand that. Her lips pressed thin, eyes slightly misty. I do. I just wish things had been different. Some things can't be changed, I said softly. But we can choose how they shape us. She nodded, turning away without pressing further. My chest rose slowly as relief and quiet triumph mingled. I hadn't given her control. I hadn't let the past dictate my emotions. Throughout the evening, I observed the subtle discomfort radiating from Derek and Elena. Derek avoided eye contact, clearly frustrated at his inability to provoke any reaction. Elena's smile faltered every time I engaged with colleagues, her attempts to overshadow me failing entirely. I allowed a small, controlled smile. This was the power of composure. The satisfaction of seeing the manipulators stumble without confrontation. My growth, my resilience, my calm authority, visible, undeniable. Mia leaned over, whispering, You're radiant, Ryan. They can't touch you now. I know, I replied quietly. It's not about them. It's about being untouchable. Not bitter. Not vengeful. Just in control. The night continued, applause echoing intermittently as others were recognized. I stayed aware of my surroundings, interacting politely, maintaining boundaries, and subtly asserting presence. Each gesture, each word, carefully measured. As the event wound down, Logan raised a glass toward me. To Ryan Thompson, he said, voice low but filled with admiration. Master of his own story. I smiled, chest lifting slightly. To control, to growth, and to moments that define us. Mia nudged me gently. And to knowing your worth without anyone else confirming it. I glanced at Cynthia Thompson one last time. Her expression had shifted from expectation to quiet acknowledgement. Derek and Elena were still visibly unsettled. I realized this was the climax I had been building toward, not revenge, not confrontation, but psychological clarity and measured dominance. Walking out of the hall, award in hand, chest rising steadily, I felt a rush of liberation. Pride, lingering pain, empowerment, all fused together. I had faced the people who shaped my past, navigated their manipulations, and emerged unshaken. This was more than recognition. It was transformation. And finally I was fully, undeniably in control. The ceremony's lights had dimmed, leaving only the soft glow of the city through my apartment window. I sank into the couch, chest rising slowly, letting the quiet settle around me. The award rested on the table, a symbol of the journey, the struggles, and the victories that were finally mine. Logan plopped onto the couch beside me, smirking. So, the big night is over. How does it feel to be untouchable? I let out a slow breath. It feels freeing. Pride, yes, but also relief. I don't need approval from those who hurt me. Not from Cynthia, not Derek, not Elena. Mia appeared behind me, hand on my shoulder. And that's the real victory, Ryan. You've taken control of your life. Not just your career, but your emotions. I nodded, feeling warmth spread in my chest. I've spent so long chasing acknowledgement, wondering if being noticed by them meant something. But it doesn't. The people who truly matter, like you and Logan, are the ones who stayed. Logan leaned back, crossing his arms. I have to say, watching Cynthia at the ceremony, priceless. That discomfort on her face when she realized she didn't control you anymore. Priceless. I chuckled softly, shaking my head. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. But she made her choices. Derek and Elena manipulated her, fed her excuses, and now she's facing the consequences of her own actions. It's karmic. Mia squeezed my shoulder gently. Don't dwell on pity. Focus on your growth. That's where your power lies. I picked up the award, turning it in my hands. The engraved letters caught the light, reflecting my face. Every challenge, every betrayal, it brought me here. Not to revenge, not to spite anyone, but to mastery of myself. The phone buzzed. A message from Cynthia Thompson appeared. I'm sorry, Ryan. I see now what I lost. I stared at it, chest tightening slightly before tossing the phone onto the couch. Empty words. Too little, too late. She regrets, but it's hollow. She won't undo the past. Logan raised an eyebrow. Don't let her shadow your victory. She's irrelevant now. Exactly, I said, leaning back. Her regret doesn't change me. My worth isn't measured by her approval anymore. Later, Sophia stopped by, smiling warmly. Ryan, congrats on everything. You've really grown. Thanks, Sophia, I said. I appreciate you seeing me for who I am, not who I used to be. You've earned every bit, she said gently. It's inspiring to see someone rise above manipulation and betrayal with dignity. Her words lingered in my mind, reinforcing the truth I'd slowly internalized. Growth and resilience matter more than vengeance or reconciliation. Mia flopped beside me, grinning. So what now? Celebrate? Absolutely, I said, smiling genuinely. Not just the award, but the fact that I've built a life where the people who support me are my real family. Logan nodded. Here's to chosen family, he said, raising a mock glass. To loyalty, to strength, to Ryan Thompson. I mirrored his gesture, chest swelling with a sense of triumph and emotional closure. To resilience, to lessons learned, and to the people who matter. The night deepened, laughter and quiet chatter filling the room. I reflected on the long path, the neglect, the betrayals, the pain that had shaped me. Yet every step had led to this moment. Every heartbreak had been a teacher, every manipulation a test of control. Cynthia Thompson's absence from my life now felt natural. Her presence no longer dictated my emotions, and Derek and Elena's schemes had failed spectacularly, not through confrontation but through my composure, strategy, and self-respect. Mia nudged me gently. You look peaceful. I am, I admitted, chest lifting slowly. Not because the past is gone, but because I've chosen my reactions. I've chosen myself. Logan smiled, eyes gleaming with pride. You've leveled up, Ryan. And not just in your career. You're a master of your own life now. I leaned back, glancing at the city skyline. This is what freedom feels like. To acknowledge the pain, learn from it, and still move forward without bitterness. To hold my head high and know that I control my own story. Sophia's words echoed in my mind, inspiring to see someone rise above manipulation with dignity. I realized she was right. My triumph wasn't just the award or recognition. It was the mastery of my emotions, the reclaiming of my life, and the clarity that the people who truly mattered, those who supported me unconditionally, were my chosen family. Mia rested her head lightly on my shoulder. We're proud of you, she whispered. I smiled, chest rising steadily, letting the warmth settle in. Thank you. For staying, for believing, for being my family. The award gleamed in the soft lamplight, but it wasn't the most valuable thing in the room. The laughter, the support, the shared pride, that was priceless. As I sat there with Logan and Mia, I felt a final, satisfying closure. The echoes of the past were quiet now. Cynthia Thompson's regret, Derek and Elena's failed manipulation, even the old wounds, they existed but they no longer had power. I had learned, grown and transformed. I had faced betrayal, navigated it with composure and emerged stronger. The path had been painful, but the destination was worth every step. And now, finally, I could rest. The morning light spilled into my apartment, soft but warm, touching the award and certificates on the shelf. I sat at my desk, chest rising slowly, hands holding a pen over a blank page. Today I wasn't chasing validation. Today I wrote for me. I started the letter to Cynthia Thompson, carefully choosing each word. Cynthia, I want you to know I've faced the past, acknowledged the pain and moved forward. I don't need forgiveness nor your approval. I forgive for myself, not for you. Logan's text buzzed on my phone. Writing again? You're getting thorough, Ryan. I chuckled softly. Yeah, I guess I am. I whispered aloud, this is the closure I need, not a response from her. The pen hovered as memories surfaced. Neglect, small betrayals and moments of hope that never came. Yet, alongside those memories were triumphs, lessons, and the unwavering support of Mia and Logan. Mia's voice rang in my head. You're writing your story now, Ryan? Not hers, not theirs. I smiled faintly. Exactly. I continued the letter, my chest rising and falling steadily. I hope you understand that your absence, your regrets, and the consequences of your choices are yours to bear. I am free from them. I am choosing my life, my happiness, and my path forward. The words felt like a weight lifting. I didn't intend to send the letter. It was symbolic, a release of lingering pain. Acknowledgement without dependence. Forgiveness without submission. Later, Logan called. Morning, Ryan. Ready to tackle the day? I leaned back, pen set aside. Yeah. Feeling empowered. There's clarity in writing it down. Even if Cynthia never reads it, it matters to me. That's the important part, Logan said. You're owning the narrative. I nodded. Exactly. Control isn't about confrontation or revenge. It's about mastering your emotions and your choices. At the cafe, Mia met me with her usual warmth. How's the letter coming? Done, I said, chest lifted slightly. Unsent. Just a symbol. I'm not asking for anything from her. Perfect, she said, smiling. It's yours. That's the power. Later, at work, I received a project proposal I had long wanted. Tyler, my professional rival, looked on expectantly, probably waiting for hesitation or misstep. I met his eyes, calm and collected. I'll lead this project, I said firmly. I've learned to navigate challenges and control outcomes. I won't be distracted. Tyler's expression faltered. I could see the surprise, and perhaps the faint recognition that I was no longer the same person he had underestimated. That evening, I returned home reflecting on how far I'd come. The betrayals of the past, Derek's undermining Elena's schemes, and Cynthia Thompson's absence had shaped me. But they no longer defined me. They informed my strength, my clarity, and my emotional resilience. Mia plopped onto the couch beside me. You're glowing, Ryan. Not from recognition, but from being your own anchor. I smiled, chest expanding. It's strange, isn't it? Pain can either control you or strengthen you. I chose the latter. Logan joined us, a coffee in each hand. Here's to Ryan Thompson, architect of his own life. I raised an imaginary glass. To control, growth, and the knowledge that the past can't touch the present. Later that night, I placed the unsent letter into a drawer. It wasn't closure for Cynthia Thompson. It was closure for me. A tangible reminder of forgiveness without dependence, acknowledgement without validation. I stared at the ceiling, reflecting. Career, personal growth, and even love felt like possibilities now, unshaped by fear or resentment. The pain lingered subtly, a reminder of survival and strength, but it no longer weighed me down. I whispered softly, the past will always be a part of me, but it doesn't define me. It only shapes the person I choose to be. Mia nudged me gently. And that person is remarkable. I let out a slow breath. I've learned patience, resilience, and the value of chosen family. That's more powerful than any validation from someone who walked away. Logan smiled from across the room. You've built a life they can't touch. Exactly, I said. And that's the ultimate freedom. To embrace the future, fully aware of the past, yet unbound by it. I stood by the window looking at the city lights sparkling like possibilities. The award, the achievements, the growth, they all mattered, but the real triumph was emotional independence. I whispered to myself, softly but firmly, I am my own person. Stronger, wiser, free. The past shaped me, but I own the present, and I will shape the future. And for the first time in a long time, the future felt bright, unshakable, and entirely mine.